Hi, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about colors and typography and how that might connect to your brand. So if we look at this, we all recognize this immediately as the Google Chrome logo. And we can see that the colors mesh with that we often see in various Google product logos. So we always see the red and the yellow or the mustard and the green and the blue, and they always work together in some fashion and blend together so that we immediately know that this must be a Google product. So one of the things you're going to be choosing for your own personal brand is thinking about what is your color palette. So what is the palette that suits you, and you can think about these things. So as we go through this, what we want to do is look at what are some things we might want to think about related to our color choices. So one of the things you want to think about is that warm colors can convey a sense of happiness. So there's a brightness. You can see, I probably think of maybe sunshine related to this palette of colors. Pastels tend to be a little bit friendlier. They have a softer appearance versus something that have earth tones that might be more natural and straightforward. Or if I'm dealing with cool colors that maybe I want to convey some sense of calm or serenity, that's going to be a slightly different approach. So be aware of kind of the tones that are connected. And several of you have used some of these adjectives related to these. So you'll want to use somewhat variations of either the warm colors, the pastels, earth tones, or cool colors as you're thinking about what you want to choose for your own personal palette. The other thing you're going to be picking is how should I be using typography, different typefaces. And so I have to make a decision. If I look at the serif fonts, they tend to be a little more formal, a little more professional. Sans serif is, I'm not saying that sans serif isn't professional, but it has a more direct informational appeal. And then the handwritten is a bit more casual, laid back. It may convey different things. So be aware of that. If I'm trying to create a brand that's going to be, pretty serious, or pretty sober kind of brand, I probably don't want to be using a handwritten font. So you want to make sure that the typeface reflects the tone and the characteristics that you've outlined in your brand voice. Don't forget what I would caution on. You don't want to have 5 different typeface choices. You want to choose 1 or 2 primarily. And then the variation comes in the font weight between bold and italic and the font size, so that you can give some guidance in terms of when do I use larger fonts, when do I use smaller fonts, when do I boldface, and you can specify where those make sense with regards to your own brand. And don't forget about capitalization. Sometimes small caps conveys a pretty interesting aspect to the brand. You want to specify when will you use all caps, which is often seen as shouting. So those are some of the decisions that you will be making as you fill out your part with the brand colors and brand type. One of the other things you'll want to be doing is picking out your colors. And in choosing the colors and building your color palette, you'll want to get the hexadecimal codes. Those are good from a brand perspective because then you can use them in your social media. You can use them on your website. You can that way type in the code and get the exact look that you are looking for when it comes to your screen. Be aware that some colors are visible on a screen and they may not be visible on products or printing, right? You have a more limited color palette when you print something versus when you have it on your screen. That's why sometimes when you print something on a color printer, it doesn't look exactly like the way it might look on your screen because it doesn't have the millions of colors available to you. So be thinking about that as you're putting together your colors. But here's so if I look at Color Hex, this is a really good site in terms of they have some palettes here that you can look at how people have contributed palettes. So I can look at these different aspects that might provide something to me, or I can actually build my own of choosing a color. Maybe there's a particular color I like, And then what this will do is this will give me the various shades and tints, as well as the analogous colors and the complementary color, using the principles of the color wheel. And this can be very helpful to you in thinking about these. You can also go to a site, it's called coolers.co. It has a bunch of pop-ups, which kind of bugs me. But you can actually generate different palettes here for inspiration, and it will give you the different colors, and it gives you the hexadecimal codes as well that you might want to use for your website. So those are two resources that you could use, and give that a try.